Om. Om. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Ramo Rajamanis Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bihata Nishacharachamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहं रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। 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 We had seen the first khanda of first Mundaka in Mundakopanishad, where Shaunaka Maharshi, he asked one question: what is that knowing by which everything becomes known? He has understood that this universe of diversity doesn't have multiple causes. There is one cause from which this whole universe has emerged. He says, what is the nature of that cause? Then the answer was given. That cause is called as Akshara. Knowledge of that Akshara is called as Paravidya, that which will lead us from this Jivatva to our own infinitude. This was elaborately mentioned in the 6th mantra. Then one indicator was elaborated more, that was Bhuta Yonim. How this Akshara is the origin of creation, doubts were removed about it, and how did this sequence emerge? How did this creation emerge in sequence? That was explained in the 9th mantra. Now the next khanda, second khanda, is talking about the Karma Kanda portion of Vedas. We had seen in Ishavasya Upanishad, 96% of Vedas are talking about karma and upasana. Only 4% of Veda mantras are related to Vedanta. Now, how should we see those mantras? In what light should we see those 96% mantras? They are telling us, if you have this particular desire, then do this particular karma. In those days, they had specific desires and they knew which karma to do, which yajna to do to fulfill that desire. If somebody wanted good food, lot of enjoyment as far as food is concerned, that was called as Vajpayee Yajna. This last name Vajpayee also comes from Vedic roots. Like that, they would have a yajna for progeny, Putra Kameshti Yajna. They would have yajna for rain. So every specific desire has a specific ritual associated with it. One thing to note is Vedas are not telling us entertain desires. What they are telling is if somebody has desires, this is the way to fulfill it. Now the same Vedas will come and say, the purpose of fulfilling desire is not to grow more and more desires. Purpose of fulfilling desire is not to get more and more caught up in those desires and increase those desires, but the purpose is to do vichara. It is to do thinking about the impermanence of results coming through karma. That is the main point in this introduction. The Upanishad is not talking about what is that ritual. It just mentions one example, elaborates it, and then says, look at the uncertainty in karma phala. If you want that particular karma phala, the amount of effort which is needed to get there. If you make one mistake in one ritual, the whole result goes away. All that elaboration will come. What all mistakes can happen and what all results might go away. So this much effort is needed to get that particular karma phala, which is anityam. That karma phala, after you get it, the result after one gets it, it is impermanent. So Upanishad is wanting us to think where we want to invest our time. Do we want to make karma phala as the goal and go towards it as our varanam? Varanam means choice, as our goal of life. Or do we want to make Bhagwan as our goal and move towards Bhagwan in this life that we have been given by him only? Upanishad says there are two options. Choose either path A or path B. So this portion is elaborated for Vairagya and to increase Varanam. And also to show that the nature of Apara vidya, nature of lower knowledge and the result of lower knowledge is very different than Paravidya. Paravidya is unlike Apara vidya, its result is different and the Vishaya, the subject matter is also very different. And sometimes you might have this doubt, if I study science, can I know Brahman? Because if you say Brahman is all pervading, then he should pervade all knowledge also. If you study any knowledge, can you get knowledge of Brahman? See, every knowledge will have a specific Vishaya, a specific subject matter that they are removing ignorance about. Although every knowledge has emerged from that same consciousness. Substratum is Chaitanya only. But we need specific vritti of that object to remove ignorance about that object. If I have Sangeeta Akara vritti, it will remove ignorance about Sangeeta. If I have Raga Akara vritti, it will remove ignorance about that Raga. If I want to remove ignorance about Brahma, which vritti do I need? Brahma Akara vritti. Now, is Brahmakara vritti the subject matter of science? That is the point. Brahmakara vritti is not the subject matter of music or science. Even though Brahman is a substratum, ignorance of Brahman will not go away until I bring this Brahmakara vritti. Just like ignorance about music, ignorance about science, physics, that will not go away without appropriate vritti. Ignorance of Brahma will also not go away without Brahmakara vritti. To show this difference, this topic has come now. That Apara vidya doesn't discuss about nature of Brahman. The result of Apara vidya is different. Result of Para vidya is different. But this introductory bhashya is a very important bhashya. The clarity that Bhagwan Shankaracharya gives of what should be our goal in life and what should not be our goal in life. Shankara Jayanti day or every day, why only Shankara Jayanti day? We should remember these words. If I say I am a disciple of Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji, what does he expect from us as far as goal of life is concerned? Okay. Let us see this before the first mantra, the introduction. Sangha Vedaha Apara vidya Ukta. Did you all find it? Which page number is it? Yes, 27, page number
27.
27. Did you all find? Okay, good. Sangha Vedaha Apara vidya Ukta Rugvedo Yajurvedaha Ityadina Yattad Adresham Ityadina Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayate Iti Antena Granthena Uktalakshanam Aksharam Yaya Vidyaya Adigamyate Iti Para Vidya Savisheshana Ukta Atah Param Anayoho Vidyayoho Vishayau Vivektavyau Samsara Moksha Iti Samsara Mokshau Iti Uttarah Granthah Arabhyate. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji is a master in summarizing. The whole first khanda he summarizes in 2 sentences. What was taught in the first khanda doesn't start with Brahma Devana Pratama Sambhavu. He says the main point of first khanda was Sangha Vedaha Apara vidya iti ukta. Along with Vedanga, Sangha means along with Vedanga, all the Vedas they were called as Apara vidya. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Ityadina. This was mantra number 5. Mantra number 5 spoke about Apara vidya. Then mantra number 6 through 9 spoke about Paravidya. What was spoken there? Yattat adresham ityadina nama rupam annam cha jayate iti antena. Starting from Yattat adresham, mantra 6, all the way until rupam annam cha jayate, which is mantra number 9. Granthena ukta lakshanam aksharam. From these mantras, the nature of akshara that was described. Yaya vidyaya adigamyate. Aksharam yaya vidyaya adigamyate means by this knowledge, by this paravidya, akshara tattva is attained. It is known to be our own true self. That elaboration was done from 6th mantra to 9th mantra. Iti paravidya sa visheshana ukta. This is the nature of paravidya. This was explained along with visheshana. Now what is visheshana of akshara? Adrushya, etc. That is called as visheshana here. Otherwise, don't take another visheshana. Nirvishesha Brahma doesn't have another visheshana. The indicator of Brahma itself is its visheshana. So adrushyatva, yattadadresham, agrahyam, agotram. Along with all those indicators, visheshana here means indicator, this akshara tattva was elaborated. Now what? Now what should we do? Atah param. Sanskritam class. Atah is avyaya. Hereafter. Hereafter. Atah param anayoho means between these two knowledge. Which knowledge? Anayoho vidyayoho. Between apara vidya and paravidya. Vishayo. Between these two topics, apara vidya and paravidya. Vivektavyo. One should discern between these two knowledge. Both are worthy of knowledge, means both are worthy of being known. Dve vidye veditavye. But between these two, what is the greatness of paravidya should also be known. Samsara mokshau iti uttarah grantah arabhyate. Shankaracharya directly says, apara vidya leads to samsara, paravidya leads to moksha. To explain this point by elaborating both clearly, next portion has come. Now, what is samsara? He said aparavidya leads to samsara, paravidya leads to moksha. So, what is samsara according to Shankaracharya ji? That he elaborates. Tatra aparavidya vishayah kartradi sadhana kriyaphala bheda rupah samsarah anadi anantah दुःख स्वरूपत्वात् हातव्यः प्रत्येकं शरीरिभिः सामस्त्येन नदीस्रोतोवत् अव्यवच्छेद रूप संबंधः तद उपशमलक्षणः मोक्षः परविद्या विषयः अनादि अनन्तः अजरः अमरः अमृतः अभयः शुद्धः प्रसन्नः स्वात्मा प्रतिष्ठालक्षणः परमानन्दः अद्वयः iti is also there. So what is samsara? First elaborates what is samsara. Tatra apara vidya vishaya. The vishaya of apara vidya, that is this. Kartradi sadhana kriyaphala bheda rupa. The moment we talk about lower knowledge, first thing what it includes is ahankara. Kartradi means ahankara. And once this ahankara is there, it needs sadhana. It needs means to accomplish that particular karma. Means are there, ahankara is there, that alone is not sufficient. It has to do that action. Kriya. Doer is there, means are there, and action is there. But why is he doing all of this? Because he wants some phala. Because he wants some phala. To get that phala, he is doing this. Three things. Means he is doing the action, which includes ahankara, which includes the means. 1 minute. This is also samsara. Kartradi sadhana kriya phala bheda rupa. These three things put together, karta, sadhana and kriya, for the sake of phalam. This group which is there, he says that is samsara. What it will do is, it will constantly remind us, right now I am incomplete. Unless that phala comes, unless that particular thing happens in my life, that particular object I get in my life, until then I am incomplete. Ananda Swarupa Brahma starts thinking in this way. That is the reason why it is called as samsara. It constantly reminds us erroneously that I am finite. Moment this karta is there, moment the karma phala is there. In the case of jnani, all these things are seen, but they are badita. His ahankara is badita. The means by which he is doing action is badita. The action itself is badita. What to talk about phala? Whether it comes, it doesn't come. He says, I am that same Ananda Swarupa. राजा को रानी मिले आनंद घन को क्या? Did I tell you this story? There was one king who was going through a difficult time. So he went to one Mahatma Ji and he said, my enemies are attacking me. The treasury is not doing very well. Can you do something? Then he wrote one chit and he gave it to him. He said, keep it with you. Everything will be solved. Nothing got solved. Same enemies came and attacked. Treasury was going down. Then he went again. He said, oh Mahatma Ji, last time you gave me that chit, I kept it in my altar. Nothing happened. Enemy came, treasury went down. Can you do something? Then Mahatma Ji says, okay, now I'll give you another chit. This you keep it with you. Everything will be fine. He told, keep this in your treasury. This chit, you keep it in your treasury. Everything will be fine. Then after some time, everything was okay. Enemies also went away. He was more powerful. Treasury also increased. Then finally he was curious. He went to that Mahatma Ji. He said, if your permission is there, can I open that chit? I want to know what you had written. Mahatma Ji says, go, open it. Then when he opens it, he finds this sentence. Raja ko Rani mile, Ananda Ghan ko kya? Means let that king get whatever he wants. I, as his Brahman, am unaffected by any karma phalas. So in that way is the thought of a jnani. That is how he thinks about karma, kartrutva, and the sadhana. But if somebody thinks that alone to be real and invests all their happiness in karma phala, what is the result? Next word, samsara. Samsara means this anubhuti of constantly moving from one state of mind to another state of mind. Now he is happy, now he is sad, now he is happy, now he is sad. That constant change itself is called as samsara. Samsaranam means to move from one place to another. That is in his ahankara, that is in his mind, constantly moving from one state of mind to another state of mind. And these desires, because they are born out of ignorance, they are born out of ajnanam, it is anadi. Next word is anadi, samsaraha anadi. From how long have I been running around like this? From how long this cycle is going on? There is no start date. When did the first desire arise? Even when creation goes into pralaya, desires are in seed form. Desires are in seed form. They don't get destroyed. And creations have been infinite. They have been there forever. Several yugas have come and gone. Our desires are also kept intact in all those cycles of creation. So Srishti is anadi. So our desire cannot be sadi. Desire is also anadi. Because Srishti is for karta only. It is for fulfilling Jiva's desire only. Srishti emerges. So both come together, Jiva and Srishti, and both dissolve together, Jiva and Srishti. That's why it is called as anadi. From ajnanam standpoint, ignorance standpoint, all desires are anadi. Then it is anantaha. Anantaha means if I don't put forth effort to end this samsara, it will not go away on its own. If I don't put forth effort to change my way of thinking, one day I will not get moksha. That's why in 15th chapter, after describing the tree of samsara, what does Bhagavan Krishna tell us? Asanga shastrena drudena chitva. Nicely Bhagavan described what is the root, what is the leaf, what is the fruit, what is the sprout. Then finally he said, don't expect this samsara vriksha to fall by itself. With the shastra, with the axe of dispassion, cut asunder this tree of samsara, hit it right at the root. What is the root of samsara vriksha? Avidya. Samsara vriksha root is avidya. Root of the seed, the substratum of avidya is Brahman. But he says, question that ignorance, remove that ignorance right at the root. Now, in this context, if I keep studying Apara vidya, will it remove this ignorance? It will not remove this ignorance. When we study this systematically, we will appreciate the importance of thorough Shravanam. Because Shuddha Vedanta Shravanam is the only way where this Mule Kutara happens. Asanga Shastrena Drudena Chitva means the Shastra is being used to remove ignorance. Constantly we are reminded, you are not this Jiva, you are a Brahma. You are not this Jiva, you are a Brahma. So that is the Anantata. Samsara, if you don't pay attention to remove it, it will keep growing. It will not end by itself, it will just keep multiplying. Bhagavan Shankaracharya is in a different mood. After giving so many adjectives, he gives another one. Dukkha Rupatvat. He says everybody should strive to gain moksha. Why? Because it is samsara is dukkha rupa. Samsara is dukkha rupa. If somebody says, I don't see it as dukkha rupa, everything is so good. He says that I've elaborated in other text. So Bhaja Govindam, he will show us what is the other side of samsara. What I see as sukham, to make me understand that this is not sukham, this is dukkham. What I see as joy, to make me understand this is actually repurposed, repackaged sorrow. Sorrow in a different form. To remind us of this, he says, I've done elaboration in other places. But what is our sadhana? Wherever mind gets stuck in the world, there we have to see dukkham. This is a secret for controlling the mind. If I want to control this mind from the world, it will not come back until I have Mahatva Buddhi in the world and I have Sukha Buddhi in the world. Mind will go to those places which I have given importance. And it will go to those places where I see joy. So if I have to pull my mind back from the world, what should I do? Not give undue importance to those things. And at the same time, start seeing dukkham there. Dukkham is there, not that because I am seeing it will show up. It is already there, I am not seeing it. For example, name and fame. Somebody might like this name and fame. And mind will naturally go towards doing those actions which will bring more and more name and fame. Now, how should I pull my mind back from it? One is, don't give too much Mahatva Buddhi to it. This advice is given to all musicians. All good teachers, they will give this advice to the performers. They'll say, you do whatever you want, but be careful of this name and fame. Because that is something which will bring you down. Don't give Mahatva Buddhi to it. You are here to sing. Focus just on that music, not on this glamour and fame that comes along with it. I had heard one musician, he said, if you do film music, then at least the praise comes later. After that film is released, after you get good name and fame, then that praise comes. But if you are singing on stage, right while you are singing, everybody praises you. He said, I come from a mountaineering background. Means my village was in the mountain. He gave a nice example. He said, when we climb the mountain, we have to bend. And when we get down the mountain, we have to stand straight. So he said, if we start enjoying praise, that is like coming down the mountain. Means we are getting joy standing up because of that praise, means we'll slowly keep coming down. The person who has learned to handle it is that one who is bent down and is walking up. The main point is, one should start seeing dukkham there. In that name and fame, it says see dukkham, see how it will affect your main goal. Both these things, mahatva buddhi should be removed and dukkham should be seen in that object. There is one Pauranic story of Indradyumna, Raja. He did lot of Ashwamedha sacrifices, around 89 sacrifices he did. With that Punya Karma, he goes to Swarga Loka. Of course, he is not given the throne of Indra. For the throne of Indra, you need 100 Ashwamedha. So he is living in Swarga Loka. Nearby he is living. After whatever duration, Swarga credit ends. Whatever his duration was there, he enjoys it. Then Yamadutas, they come and say, now time is up. You have to go to next Loka. Because to remain in Swarga, you need Punya and also you need Kirti. You need good name and fame to stay here. So now you have to go back to Manushya Loka. Your credit is over. Remember, the time span in Manushya Loka and time span in Swarga Loka is very different. So 360 years over here could be just one day in Swarga Loka. So the time frame is different. So there he has lived several years. Now he is coming back to Maratya Loka. He says, I was a great king. 89 Ashwamedhas I did. So if I go back to Manushya Loka also, I will enjoy the same respect, name and fame, everything will be there. But when he comes here, he sees several thousand years have gone by and nobody recognizes him. They say, Indradyumna, which Indradyumna? His own lineage, people don't recognize him. His own royal family people, they don't recognize who is this Indradyumna. Then he meets Lomasha Rishi, who gives him knowledge. He says, when you did that Ashwamedha Yajna long time ago, I was also there. I saw you doing that Ashwamedha and now you have come back again. This is the hollowness of Kirti. This is the hollowness of name and fame. Don't make it as goal of life. As time passes by, that result also goes away. Why is it Dukkha Rupa? One simple perspective is because it is impermanent. Impermanent thing is sorrow with a different name. Dukkha Swarupatvat Hatavya. It is fit to be given up. What is fit to be given up? Apara vidya. Making Apara vidya as the goal means seeking some phalam as the goal through Apara vidya. That phalam is fit to be given up. Who all should give it up? Just few people? Shankaracharya says, Pratyekam Shariribihi. Whoever is an embodied being, everybody should start thinking about life and see what am I keeping as my goal? Is it permanent or is it impermanent? Pratyekam Shariribihi Hatavya. Hatavya means fit to be given up. Kartavya means fit to be done. Hatavya means fit to be given up. Bhagwan, there are 100 things I'm interested in. Can I keep at least few of them? 5, 6 at least you allow. Remaining I will give up. Shankaracharya says nothing doing. Samasthena hatavya. Samasthena means in totality, after doing vichara. He says don't give it up because somebody else is telling. Give it up by doing sufficient reflection. That's why Yamacharya praises Nachiketa in Kathopanishad. He says you gave up those things not because somebody is telling you. You gave up those things because you yourself have arrived at that conclusion. You yourself arrived through vichara at that conclusion. Such kind of vairagya is long lasting. If you give up something because somebody is telling, that vairagya will go away very quickly. Seasonal vairagya it is. Sometimes it comes, shows its result, goes away. Again, life is same. But one who has done vichara and come to this point, that vairagya is long lasting. So you look at that sentence again now, how beautiful it is. Tatra apara vidya vishaya. Kartradi sadhana kriya phala bheda rupa. What is the nature of apara vidya? It has ego, ahankara, it has means, it has action, and a particular result that he wants. Either it is swarga or something over here, some power, some position. How is it defined? This apara vidya and the vishaya of apara vidya. He says it is samsara. It will keep growing. It will constantly keep us finite. Then it is anadi. Because it is born out of ignorance, it is anadi. There is no start point when this desire started. And it is ananta. It will keep growing. Don't have this expectation that I will experience this desire, fulfill this desire, then it is my last desire. Many people think like this, Right now, I want this thing. Once that is over, then you see how I become spiritual. The thing is, we see so many people for whom this particular desire has been fulfilled. Have they become spiritual? No guarantee. So to entertain this thought that after fulfilling that desire, I'll be seeking Bhagwan, he says it never happens that way. Desires are ananta. I have to put forth effort and seek Bhagwan's grace to quieten them. Anantaha means that how will I start thinking about desire? How will I start pulling my mind back? Only when I understand it is dukkha swarupa. Until I see joy in that thing, until that point, bringing mind back is not possible. And how should I see this dukkham? Not in part. Shankaracharya says samasthena. See dukkham in entirety. Don't have part sukha buddhi and part dukkha buddhi. This in Sanskrit is called as ardha jaratiya nyaya. Some nyayas are very funny. Don't take it literally, just appreciate the essence of it. Ardha jaratiya nyaya means one person wants to cut the hen in half. One half he wants to cook, another half he feels he will get egg out of it. Ardha jaratiya nyaya. In part he feels this, hen is going to help in some way, and in part he feels he wants to do something else with it. This example is given for our perspective towards Vishaya. We feel in part there is sorrow, but in part it will give me joy also. But if somebody wants to progress further in spiritual life, Shankaracharya says, start seeing dukkham 100%. Samasthena, there is no 50-50. Who all should see it? Pratyekam shariribhi. He encourages all of us. He says, whoever is an embodied being with sharira, they should start thinking about life. Pratyekam shariribhi samasthena. Now, how is this samsara? He gives an example. Nadi strotovat. He says this samsara is like flowing river. A river, they say, you cannot step into the same water twice. You step in the water, by the time you have come out, gone in, it's new water. Like that, he says, our paristhiti, it is constantly changing. In other words, we cannot step into the same problem twice. One problem gone, another problem comes. One day things solved, next day another things are waiting to get addressed. Means constantly there is a feeling of change. And when the first thing ended, when the second thing started, we don't know. And when it will end, when will this nadi stop? That also we don't know. Constantly it is flowing. Like that, our samsara constantly is flowing. Nadi strotavat. Raman Maharshi gives this example for dhyanam. Ajyadharaya strotasa samam. Strota means nadi srota. Means just like the water of a river is continuous and flows effortlessly. Like that, our dhyanam should be continuous and effortless. Shankaracharya gives this example for samsara. Do we ask for problems? No. Effortlessly they come. Like nadi srota. Water effortlessly flows. Like that, this samsara effortlessly flows. And there is no gap also in between. One manobhava ends, second manobhava starts. Manobhava means state of mind. If that manobhava we get a gap, that gap will be called as samadhi. If we don't go from one state of mind to another state of mind, that is meditation. But our samsara, it keeps jumping from one state to another state. Avyavacheda rupaha. There is no break in between. That's why this nadi example is given. Continuous flow is there. From what are we jumping? From one thing to another we are jumping, but what is that thing? He says, avyavacheda rupa sambandha. So sambandha here refers to upadi sambandha. From one conditioning to another conditioning, we keep jumping. Upadi sambandha. Sometimes you are identified with mind predominantly, sometimes with body, sometimes with world outside. So all are upadis only, maya upadi. But we keep identifying with one upadi to another upadi. Avyavacheda rupa sambandha tad upashama lakshana moksha. Now until this was samsara description. Now he says, what is moksha? The quietening of this continuous flow of identification with upadi, quietening of this ahankara, understanding my infinitude which is devoid of upadi. He says that is called as moksha. Tad upashamanam moksha. This samsara nadi, which is flowing continuously, has to become nistaranga jala, a waveless lake where there are no dissimilar thought currents of the world which are coming. Or we don't look at upadis with satyatva buddhi. Don't look at these conditionings with satyatva buddhi. Time and again we should get reminded, I am that blissful self, not limited by these upadis. This moksha, to get more clarity, Bhagavan Shankaracharya says, this is the Vishaya of Paravidya. You see the next part? Paravidya Vishaya. How to do the Upashamanam of this samsara, that is the topic of Paravidya. Paravidya. Now samsara was anadi, but he says Paravidya Vishaya is also anadi. But this anadi is referring to Akshara. The previous anadi was referring to Ajnanam, ignorance. So here that Akshara Tattva, it is anadi, it is ever present. That is why it is beginningless. It is not born. Consciousness is not born on a particular day. Consciousness is that in which time appears. That is why it is beyond time, anadi. And it is Anantaha. Ananta here means it is a substratum of this infinite universe. That consciousness is a substratum of this infinite universe. That is why it is Anantaha. Ajaraha. Ajaraha means it doesn't grow old. Body grows old, but Chaitanya doesn't grow old. That's why person never feels I'm growing old. Even if that person, starting from childhood, becomes a teenager, becomes an adult, becomes an elderly person, we ask that person, do you feel you are growing old? That bhavana doesn't come. One answer for that is because our inherent swabhava is Chaitanya. That aham which is ever new, that has not grown old. Puja Guruji says litmus test of that is climbing stairs. Whatever you feel about yourself, you say that doesn't matter. Chair and stair. So two things are litmus test. A body growing old. Body growing old, not Atma. He calls them as chair person. And so whenever they walk into a room, first thing they will see is chair. So who is sitting there? Who is doing? So that is not a concern. Anadi Anantaha Ajaraha means that which doesn't grow old. And Amaraha. Amaraha means that which doesn't have Kshaya. That which doesn't have modification. That which doesn't decay. That is called as Amaraha. Next word is Amrutaha. See, Amaraha and Amrutaha both can mean nectar. Both can mean Amrutam. But here the slight difference is made. Amaraha means it doesn't have Kshaya, doesn't have decay. And Amrutaha means it doesn't have Nasha. Doesn't get destroyed. It is immortal. That is this Chaitanya. One who is able to own it up as his own nature. One who is able to own it up as his own nature, that I am this Amaraha, I am this Amrutaha. What will he get? Abhayaha. That is the next word. He will become fearless. He will become fearless because other than me, there is nobody here. See, fearlessness will come with the clarity of Advaita Jnanam. There is a nice mantra which says, Dvitiyatvai bhayam bhavati. Fear rises when there is notion of duality. When I think there is somebody else other than me, then there is fear of some kind of a harm, some kind of experience, whatever you call it. Triggers of fear might be different, but the root cause of fear is duality. This is exalted way of looking at it. If somebody asks us what is cause of fear, we will say spider, this and that, so many small things. But here they say the root cause of fear is Dvaita Buddhi. So what is the main cause of fearlessness? To remove this notion of duality. That other than this Chaitanya, there is no Ahankara and there is no Jagat. So what is there to be afraid of? And whatever I am seeing, what is this? Jagat is there, Ahankara is there. We say that is a play of Maya. That is a play of our mind. This Maya, through this mind, has projected all this. In deep sleep, when mind is not there, Ahankara is not there, none of this is there. But still I am there. In that I, we should find abidance. In waking state, in the midst of this projection, finding abidance in that I. So that is the fearlessness which Advaita Vedanta talks about. So two things are involved there. One is clarity about my knowledge as consciousness. Clarity about this knowledge that I am consciousness. And second is knowing that this consciousness is non-dual. Whatever is other than consciousness That is only an appearance, it is not absolute. Whenever this knowledge dawns upon us, whenever this knowledge becomes clear, that is when true fearlessness will come. This was the fearlessness that Parikshitji Maharaj got. This was the fearlessness that Janak Maharaj got. Ashtavakraji says, Abhayam vai Janakah praptosi. His graduation certificate is not how many texts of Vedanta he studied, how many Upanishads he studied. His graduation certificate from his guru is, O Janaka, you have become fearless now. You have understood your nature as the Chaitanya and understood everything to be an appearance. That is Abhayaha. Then another indicator is Shuddha. This Akshara Tattva is Shuddha, means it is devoid of Maya. Maya doesn't taint Akshara. Rama Niranjana Nyarare, Anjana Sakala Pasarare. Kabir Das Ji has written one bhajan where he says, Bhagwan is that pure consciousness. Rama Niranjana Nyarare. Unique consciousness is Anjana Sakala Pasarare. Anjana means Maya. This Maya has brought about this whole world of names and forms. He calls it as Pasara. Means it has spread out all these names and forms. But Bhagwan by himself, Chaitanya by itself, is Shuddha, untouched by Maya. Sattva Guna doesn't make it pure. Tamo Guna doesn't make it impure. That is what is meant by Shuddha. Next word is beautiful, Prasanna. What is this Chaitanya? This Chaitanya is Prasanna. Means it is Ananda Swarupa. It is not some void, not absence of something, but it's a positive entity in which one can revel. Any prasannata experienced anywhere by any jiva is one small drop of this prasanna. Yat saukhyam buddhi. Last verse of Manisha Panchakam. Yat saukhyam buddhi lesha leshata ime shakradayo nirvrutaha. Yat saukya ambudhi lesha leshata ime. In that one drop of happiness of this consciousness, Indra rejoices. Shakradaya nirvrutaha. Means any conducive situation anybody has in life, whatever joy is coming to them, it is not coming only from that situation. It is this Atma Swarupa only getting reflected in their mind. If yogi is getting joy, that is the same Atma which is reflecting in that yogi's mind. Mind held calm and stable, that Ananda Swarupa gets reflected there. And Jnani getting joy, he says, Brahmaiva na Brahmavit. He is not becoming experiencer of joy. He says, I am that joy. I am that Ananda Swarupa. So Manisha Panchakam, the last verse, 3 standpoints are pointed out. One person can get joy from Paristhiti. Second person, yogi, gets joy from Manasthiti. And Jnani gets joy from Atmasthiti. From situations, somebody can get joy. From state of mind, somebody can get joy. But Jnani says, I am the source of joy. But Prasanna word here has a specific meaning. Generally, how we think of Prasanna? At mind level. Unlike mind, the Prasannata of Atma is not affected by Dharma Dharma. What decides when mind will be happy, when mind will be sad? Dharma and Adharma. Because our karmas have to give us joy and sorrow. Based on Dharma Dharma, it will create Punya Papa. That Punya Papa will bring Sukha Dukkha. No matter where that person is, it will go looking for him. That karma phala will knock at his door and finally give him this Sukha or Dukkha. So unlike this Sukha Dukkha at mind level, Prasannata of Atma is not incidental. It is its Swarupa. There is no coming going in the joy of Atma. Swatma Pratishtha Lakshana. Getting abidance in this alone is called as Swatma Pratishtha. The nature of this truth is, it is ever present, it is Pratishtita, and getting abidance in it. That is what is called as moksha. Means when I say I, when I think about myself, just like this notion comes, I am a man, all other identities come, Brahmana, Kshudra, Vaishya. Professional identities come. I am so and so, I am a doctor, I am an engineer. With what clarity it comes and how strong it is, with that same clarity and strength, these identities should become our identity. Starting from I am Anadi, Anantah, Ajarah, Amarah, Amrutah, Abhayah, Shuddhah, Prasannah. This, when it becomes my Lakshana, that is called as Swatma Pratishtha. That itself is self-abidance. It is supreme most bliss, Paramananda. There is no joy greater than Atmananda. And also it is Advayaha. It is non-dual. That is why this knowledge has to be gained. See what Bhagavan Shankaracharya did. He pointed out there are two types of knowledge. Then he said the result of Apara vidya is Samsara and all those other indicators. Then Para vidya Vishaya is Akshara. What are the key indicators? That also is described. Now he is going to conclude the introductory Bhashya. Purvam tavat Apara vidyayaha Vishaya pradarsanartham Arambah Taddarshane Hi Tannirveda Upapattehe Tatha cha Vakshati Pariksha Lokan Karmachitan Ityadina Nahi Apradarshite Pariksha Upapadyate Iti Tat Pradarshayan Aha. Purvam tavat, until before Apara vidyayaha Vishaya pradarsanartham arambha. Until before whatever was spoken about as Apara vidya Vishaya. To elaborate that more, the next portion is starting. The second khanda is beginning. Now why should you elaborate? It says Taddarshanehi tan nirveda upapattehe. Only when we understand what is the nature of karma, when we understand what is the nature of result coming from karma, we can actually get vairagya towards karma and karma phala. Remember, don't get confused with karmas done for chitta shuddhi. That will not classify under this category. That's why we said in the last session that will be included in Shreya Marga also. Our Nitya Karma, Naimitya Karma, whatever we are doing, Dharmic Karmas, whatever we are doing, provided our goal is Bhagwan, that will be part of Shreya Marga. Because that person is not striving to hold Ahankara. He says, Bhagwan, I want to get rid of this Ahankara. You only told me in Bhagavad Gita, the means is Karma Yoga. So for that Chitta Shuddhi, I am doing this karma and whatever duties you have given me in life. So his goal is still Bhagwan. Goal is not some worldly thing. Now this is being spoken of somebody who has world alone as the goal. Kamatmana Swarga Paraha. So Swarga is one example. He says that is my goal. For that, whatever karmas are there, that he is doing. And very diligently doing it. But same Upanishad will say, look at the amount of effort and the uncertainty in the result. You are striving so hard, striving so hard. Finally, whether you get it or not, that is also not guaranteed. Let's say even if you get it, after so much effort, it is not going to stay long. What if you realize that is not what you wanted? Sometimes it happens, right? We have our own ideas about what we want in life. We struggle, 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 finally get it. Then we realize, oh, this is not what I wanted. You climb the ladder with lot of difficulty and get to know that it was against the wrong wall. He says that is this karma. Sometimes be very careful what we are asking. Ask Bhagwan, rest everything will come. Whatever has to come as karma phala, he says it will come anyway without asking. Why make it as goal of life? That is the main thing. Otherwise, you might get little confused between this advice being impractical. Particularly somebody who is in Kali Yuga with all our daily life that we are living. If suddenly somebody says, look at karma, see the limitations in karma, look at karma phala, it is samsara. When will it become samsara? If that karma phala alone becomes my goal. If Bhagwan is the goal, then that same karma will become my support towards moksha. Ishwararpitam nechayakrutam chittashodakam mukti sadakam. Karma can become kruti mahodado patana karanam also. It can stop me from my journey towards moksha, or it can help me towards moksha. Depends on what is my goal. Tathacha vakshati, that's why it is said, pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmana. This is said in the same Upanishad, it will come. You cannot examine something unless you have elaborated it. Nahi apradarshite pariksha upapadyate, iti tat pradarshayan aha. If somebody says, have vairagya towards karma phala, you cannot have vairagya until he has understood what is the nature of karma phala. If somebody says, have vairagya towards the means for worldly goals, he cannot understand or get vairagya unless he knows what are the means. So to explain that, next portion has come. Next mantra is very nice, something different that you don't get to see in other text, that we will see in the next session. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Hari Om.